What actually happened to Wes Craven's original Cursed movie?
What's going on up there?
Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. One of the most infuriating things about Cursed is we never got to see the original cut of the movie. I know that practical effects is something that we all love today, but if you go back 20 years, although we're complaining about it now, a lot of people preferred CGI over practical effects. Now, I'm not saying everybody did, but there are a lot of people out there that thought that CGI would outdo practical effects. But here we are 20 years later, knowing that practical effects is better now than CGI. But I don't think the CGI versus practical effects is the only thing at play here with regards to the original Cursed. There is other actors that were cut completely from the movie, and not just bit part actors. We're talking about actors like Skeet Ulrich, who played Vince in the original cut of the movie, and instead of just changing his character around, they actually just removed them completely.
IET, welcome to the set of Cursed.
So let's take a deep dive into what actually happened. Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson started shooting a slick R-rated werewolf whodunit movie in 2003. With about a week left, Dimension shut it down. They ordered a page one rewrite, they recast major roles and reshot the movie multiple times. The practical Rick Baker werewolves were largely tossed for CG. And then the final nail in the coffin was the studio forced a PG-13 theatrical cut. It finally limped out in February 2005 in theatres and it bombed. A truer Craven cut exists, but it's unfinished, and I know that Scream Factory tried to get the rights to give us the most complete version of the Wes Craven cut, but they couldn't do it. Believe it or not, the idea for Cursed came back in 1999, so we're going to start from 1999 right up into 2005. Between 1999 and 2000, Kevin Williamson drafted a werewolf mystery for Dimension. Bob Weinstein hypes it to reinvent the werewolf genre. The cameras started rolling in March 2003, and Wes Craven shot about 90% of the original script with Christina Ricci as Ellie, Jesse Eisenberg as Jimmy, and Skeet Ulrich as Vince. The climax was set to be filmed at the Hollywood Wax Museum until the plug was pulled. In summer 2003, the movie was shut down. Dimension halted the production weeks before the film wrapped, and they were unhappy with the ending and the effects. So officially, the movie goes back into development. In late 2003 to early 2004, we got page one rewrites and recasts. Ellie and Jimmy are now rewritten as siblings. The Vince lead, played by Skeet Ulrich, was completely discarded like trash. Joshua Jackson is then added as Jake. Mandy Moore exits and Mia takes the opening victim slot, although her opening is then changed to later on in the movie. Several other actors dropped out like Robert Forster, Omar Epps, Scott Foley, Elenia Douglas, Heather Langenkamp, Corey Feldman and James Brolin just all completely dropped out of the project, and those are some massive names. Between that time in 2003 to 2004, this is when Rick Baker's practical effects were replaced with CGI. Rick Baker built the practical werewolf, including Judy Greer's transformation, but all of that was sidelined. KNB's work is also replaced in many spots by CGI. Rick Baker later shared his images of the unused suit, which actually looks fantastic. You'd think because they scrapped all the actors, brought new actors in, scrapped the practical effects, and then brought in the CGI, you would think that that's it. Time to roll, but no, we got more reshoots. Multiple new endings were shot. Jesse Eisenberg even says that there was 4 waves in total. They even had crew shirts that literally read Cursed 4, back for more. By the end of 2004, Dimension then changed the movie from rated R to PG-13, and this was something that Wes Craven didn't want because they had already advertised this movie as a Wes Craven movie, and Wes Craven was known for his rated R horror movies, and that's what this was supposed to be. At this point in time, Wes Craven was already angry with the final cut of the movie because they'd taken away the practical effects and taken away half his cast that he wanted to be cast in the movie, so he they accepted what they'd done and he went ahead with the reshoots, etc. And he had his final movie. But they then stripped back all the rated R moments in the movie and gave them a PG-13 movie. There is an unrated version of the movie out on Blu-ray and 4K, but again, it doesn't include everything that it wanted it to include. The movie made an abysmal $29.6 million at the worldwide box office. That's absolutely terrible for a Wes Craven horror movie, especially since the budget for the film was between $35 and $40 million. That's before marketing, and also there's rumours that it cost way more than that because of the amount of reshoots that were done. So this movie flopped big time. So what were the main differences between the original 2003 cut of Cursed and the eventually released version in 2005? The original premise in 2003 was three strangers, Ellie, Vince and Jimmy. They collided on the Mulholland Drive and are attacked by some sort of werewolf, but then it turns out to be a whodunit movie, just kind of like Wes Craven's normal horror movies, and then it unfolds in the LA nightlife. The tone of the movie was supposed to be that Kevin Williamson banter with R-rated kills, practical transformation set pieces by Rick Baker as well. And then of course the climax of the movie was planned for the Hollywood Wax Museum, but this part of the movie was unfinished when it was all shut down. So I think apart from the ending to this film, it was almost complete. If we then look at the eventual 2005 release that was actually released to the public, it was Ellie and Jimmy that were siblings in this film and they were coping with grief. Vince is completely gone and Joshua Jackson's character Jake becomes the boyfriend, red herring antagonist. We also get the CG creatures over the practical builds and Judy Greer's transformation is completely digital. It's funny because even though we got no ending to the 2003 version, we got multiple endings to the 2005 version, and whatever test screening ran the best, that's the one they would have went with, and that's the one with Jake in the house in the finale. In both versions of the movie, the one thing that didn't change was Joni's involvement with being the werewolf or being attached to something to do with the werewolf. That's Judy Greer's character, so she was always a bad person in both versions of the movie. One of the editors on the film, Patrick Lucier, says that they expected a 6-week gig, but he said they ended up on Cursed for 19 months. They were on it for so long that he even directed second unit during the additional photography. So does the Craven cut actually exist? Yes. Yes, it does. Now, the only big issue with the Craven cut is there's no definitive ending to the movie because it just wasn't shot, but we would love to see what they did shoot and make it a feature-length movie. Now, similar to Zack Snyder's Justice League, all they have is the footage for the movie and there's no massive edits done on the film, so they could eventually go back to the drawing board and re-edit the film to make it look like a finished movie. But another issue is the material is owned by different companies as well, and that's where Scream Factory ran into those issues because they wanted to get access to all the material and they couldn't do because one company owned one thing, one company owned another thing, and it was just too messy. But I think if they all got together, gave the rights to one specific company to edit the movie, then we could eventually get that Craven cut. What the ending would look like, I have absolutely no idea, but they could give us an unfinished movie and let us know that there is no ending to the movie unless they work their magic and give us an ending that looks suitable enough.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
So what are your thoughts on Cursed? Do you think it was a cursed movie? As always, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?